It came to my attention on Twitter that there was a really stupid article called Why Veganism is a Cult of Death. Anti-vegans will go to great lengths to attempt to debunk veganism. The first point this article made, people abstain from eating animal products. Could you imagine living off cancer-causing fruits, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and grains? What? Just what? Okay. Vegetables, fruits, nuts, and grains all have phytonutrients that prevent cancer growth. Think of all the nutritional deficiencies you would obtain. How would you get your healthy doses of saturated fat, cholesterol? Let me stop you there. They're both known disease causers. Zinc, calcium, vitamin B12, D, and omega-3s. You wouldn't. Well, saturated fat and cholesterol are both known disease causers, like I said. I'll put up 2 screen captures of studies proving this. Zinc and calcium are both abundantly found in plant foods. Zinc you can get from legumes, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and certain vegetables. Calcium you can get from leafy greens and beans and they're easier to absorb on the body versus dairy, which is hard on the human body. Vitamin B12 you can get from fortified non-dairy milk nutritional yeast, but I also take a supplement. Vitamin D is a hormone. When your sun hits the skin, it creates it, but you can get it from fungi and fortified non-dairy milk again. Or, like me, if you live in a cold environment, you supplement. Omega-3s you can get from flax seeds, chia seeds, and the like, along with walnuts. I suppose you could take supplements, but is a diet really sustainable on its own if it requires you to take pills with the nutrients you're lacking? I'm going to have to go with a no on that one. Let's see how many vegans there are when the zombie apocalypse comes. Most hardcore kale smoothie drinker will be snacking on dog's eyeballs with a giant grin on her face. I don't see a zombie apocalypse happening anytime soon. And I said I do take 2 supplements, which are B12 and a D, mainly because everyone's pretty much B12 deficient, unless you drink untreated water, which I have a well that isn't as much of an issue. D, because I live in southeastern Ohio and don't get a lot of sun. And like I said, I can't see a zombie apocalypse happening anytime soon. Remember folks, this isn't my opinion, this is just scientific fact. They mentioned a great paper, supposedly, that summarizes the nutritional shortfalls on the vegan diet. These diets completely lack healthy polyunsaturated fats because of the lack of fish and eggs. The long-chain fatty acids are extremely important for cardiovascular and eye health, as well as brain function. DHA is rarely consumed by vegans unless it's supplemented. Even when it is supplemented, these supplements often accompanied by side effects such as impaired immune response and prolonged bleeding times. Polyunsaturated fats are found in plants. Avocados, nuts, and seeds are all rich. Sources, especially flax seeds. DHA can be supplemented. I don't, because I eat a range of good fats from avocados, nuts, and seeds. The fatty acid is the primary structural component of the human brain. Cerebral cortex, skin, and retina. Obviously, DHA is vital, which is true. DHA is essential for the growth and functional development of the brain in infants. Not only is it a must for babies, but adults need it too. DHA is required for maintenance of normal brain functions in adults. And vegan parents feeding their children vegan diets, they are quite literally turning them into vegetables. Malnourished babies are way too common in the vegan community. Well, here's the thing though. Malnourished babies are common in both the vegan and non-vegan community. You just have to know what you're doing. There are too many horror stories to count. Even the Royal Academy of Medicine of Belgium has suggested parents who deny their kids meat should be arrested. Professor George Casimir said this: we are talking about stunted growth and psychomotor delays, undernutrition, significant anemia. Some developments must be done at a specific time in life, and if they are not done, it is irreversible. Well, here's the thing. The American Dietetic Association, the NHS, the British Dietetic Association all said that vegan diets are appropriate for all stages of life. You just have to know what you're doing. A vegan diet is not meant to be undertaken by humans. Look what it does to our young. Just this year, a vegan couple was arrested after feeding their 5-month-old baby a vegan diet. Baby weighed 8 pounds 8 ounces at 5 months old, which was just 1 more pound than their birth weight. Detective Lauren Watson said, "I've never seen a child to this level this close to possible death." And before I start hearing the vegan screech about how this is anecdotal and an isolated incident, allow me to elaborate farther. I'm going to respond with, again, like I said, nuts, seeds, and avocados are all good sources of that. If your child is allergic to nuts and seeds and avocados are good sources of that. Someone who's been vegetarian their whole life is Manjula Jain of Manjula's Kitchen, and she is in great health. So are you saying that those babies born to vegetarian families in India are likely to get ill? No, it's poorly planned vegetarian or vegan diets that makes people ill, including babies. When you speak of malnourished babies, it's usually because of a really restricted vegan diet. Fruitarian or raw vegan, those are recipes for disaster. And soy and almond milk and those sort of things aren't meant for babies, they're meant for people once off their mom's milk. Here's how you prevent these nutritional deficiencies. You breastfeed for a year or two. You breastfeed for a year or two until they've started developing, right? And then you feed them a vegan diet. Plain and simple. Unlike a carnivore, keto, or any kind of low-carb diet, veganism is a horrible choice for the development and maintenance of your body's organs. Well, carbs are a fuel source for humans, and all those diets clog arteries and give you nutritional deficiencies. Sheesh, this is going to be a long video. We haven't even touched other nutrients that vegan diets are lacking in. They said, what about vitamin D, the vitamin responsible for the regulation of metabolism and the absorption of calcium, magnesium, and phosphate? In the Oxford study, vegans had the lowest mean intake of vitamin D, by 1/4 the mean intake of omnivores. These levels of vitamin D are dangerously low and often cause many ailments due to deficiency. This is why many vegan children have come down with rickets. Do you want your child's bones to have the consistency of Play-Doh? Didn't think so. Another matter of concern for vegans is vitamin D2, the form of vitamin D acceptable to vegans, is substantially less bioavailable than the animal-derived vitamin D3. Sad. Your body can convert vitamin D2 easily, so I don't see this as an issue. Besides, pretty much everyone where I live, because I live in southeastern Ohio, is deficient in vitamin D unless they supplement. A study from the University of Graz said that vegetarian and vegan diets make people unhealthier. It is found that vegetarians are ill more often, more susceptible to physical and mental disorders, and generally have a lower quality of life than people who eat meat, are more at a risk of cancer, have more heart attacks, and more likely to suffer from psychological disorders. Sparage, not vegan, and he has obvious mental health disturbances. I've already mentioned in this video why the part of vegetarians and vegans being ill is nonsense. The closer the one gets to a plant-based diet, the better overall health is. Also, heart attacks are caused by clogged arteries. I'm going to put up a picture of an artery that Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, brilliant doctor, unclogged exclusively dietary-wise. Vegetarians were twice as more likely to have allergies as meat eaters, 3% more likely to contract cancer, and a staggering 150% more likely to have a heart attack. Vegetarians were also hit harder by 14 to 18 illnesses monitored in the study, which include diabetes, migraines, and osteoporosis. That's because dairy leaches calcium from the bones. The Seventh-day Adventist Health Study would like to have a word with that, seen here and down below. It's actually less nutritionally deficient. People who maintain vegetarian diets were found twice as likely to be mentally disturbed and generally have poor mental health. They said that the study was twice as likely to suffer from anxiety or depression, and a similar study found that vegetarians suffered more depression, anxiety, psychosomatic complaints, and eating disorders. I haven't heard of that one, but my depression and anxiety have gotten better on a plant-based diet. I have the neurological problem, ASD, autism spectrum disorder, and that is what causes most of my problems. I find that it's a lot better on a vegan diet. Vegans are also at risk of iron deficiency. There's heme iron and non-heme iron, as they mentioned. Which they said that the average level is lower than that of omnivores and vegans. That's just a myth. My iron levels have gone way up since going vegan. My iron levels the last 3 times they were tested were 16.9, 16.2, and 16.4. So my hemoglobin varies between 16 and 17, well within range. Also, your body doesn't know when to absorb heme iron and when it doesn't need it. Another big one is the vitamin B12 deficiency. As it can produce terrifying abnormal neurologic and psychiatric symptoms that include psychosis, ataxia, disorientation, dementia, mood, motor disturbances, and difficulty with concentration. Some vegans like to avoid B12 deficiency by drinking their precious soy lattes, but unfortunately for them, soy estrogen production turns vegan men into women. If you're a man who wants to be vegan, you can either pick being completely crazed or having decent sized boobs. You're mistaking phyto and mammalian estrogen. Phyto is plant-based estrogen, which has no effect on the human body and actually has a lot of benefits, including ridding the body of excess estrogen, so it's good for men. And mammalian, which causes gynecomastia, man boobs. Vegans are at risk for zinc deficiency, as well. Zinc deficiency is associated with many diseases can manifest in acne, eczema, xerosis, other skin issues, stomatitis, cellitis, diarrhea, impaired cognitive function, schizophrenia, and behavior abnormalities such as irritability, lethargy, and depression can be resolved by lack of a zinc intake. That is false. Veganism simply isn't the answer if you want to thrive in this world as a healthy human being. The nutrients aren't there naturally, so this diet is in no way sustainable. Just look up pictures of how vegan age. Yikes, it is quite obvious that veganism is a call to death. Tell that to longtime vegans who are thriving and even longtime vegetarians. Some of these people are born into vegetarian and vegan families. Also, I have been vegan for 5 years. I'm thriving more so than on a meat and dairy based diet. I have a lot more energy and I can do a lot of things. I love my food and I eat abundantly. Also, people age differently. I've been accused of losing my hair on a diet, but I have early male pattern and baldness because of genetics. What else? Ryan Shazier and Josh Jobs, NFL players, both have the autoimmune disease alopecia, which makes them not grow body hair at all. Guess what? Neither of them are vegan. So, this article is literally the dumbest article I've read in a while. Peace.